Yo, what's up, everybody? Testing, testing. You guys see me? You hear me? Everything is good. Hopefully, you guys see all this. I'm just gonna give it like a little bit of time for some people to come join me. Woo! A little bit stressful today, huh, guys? I would say it's a pretty stressful day in general. All right. I'm gonna give you guys a really good update, man. Trust me. I fucking called it. I'm telling you guys, like, I called all of this. You know, if you guys are following me on Twitter, like, I didn't call 94K, obviously, but I've been pretty, I think I was not one of the first. I'm not going to give myself that much credit, but I definitely was fairly bearish for a while now in terms of just calling that it's starting to have a large drop, right? And I was calling that to be cautious, and altcoins are basically at a 5 wave correction already. So I'm gonna just get into everything with you guys here, okay? So let's just get right into this. Okay, so um okay, so every coin, first of all, guys, have been like, okay, so November the 4th was a very important day, okay? So November 4th, it was like one of those days where we know that the market ended up like reaching a top already. Okay, it said that, oh fuck, I'm sorry, I'm getting my camera angles wrong. Okay, so November the 5th and the 6th, when the election started, that's where it started to move the bull market like forward, and altcoins were starting to go. And that was the major catalyst, the elections. So since then, altcoins and Bitcoin and Ethereum, they were like pumping extremely hard. And it was just a matter of time until it reached the top. And then the first wave is finished. And then the second wave is basically beginning, right? So Elliott wave is very simple. First wave, second wave, third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave. And then there's unpredictability in the third wave, unpredictability in the fifth wave, unpredictability in all the corrections. But generally, that's how it goes. If you ever see 5 waves, okay, you're probably not going to want to long it. Like after it breaks out of the wave 3 territory, if you can identify it, the risk is very high to long it up over here, okay? So you probably don't want to take a long position up there. In fact, you might want to even start exiting your short position or your long positions and start thinking about entering some short positions instead, right? So that's a very basic structure. So if you look at some of the major coins that have moved up a lot, you're going to see that, for example, DOT moved up like 218%. It does a very clear 5 wave structure. I even called this very hard in my Discord group that coins like XLM, DOT, they're probably going to drop soon, Theta. So you see a 5 wave correction and you see this kind of MACD that has this strong crossover, right? You can identify for the first wave peak, the third wave peak, the fifth wave peak, right? You can see how these areas here is a second wave. These areas here are the fourth wave. So this makes 5 cycles or 5 full fractals that form. That's why the drop happened for altcoins. It's not just DOT that did that. It's other coins that did that too. Like if you take a look at XLM, right? It does literally 5 full waves that ends up forming, right? It does 1, 2 in here, 3, 4, and the 5 is very truncated, right? So XLM does it. Theta does the same thing as well. 5 full. Oh, look, darling. Theta ended up dropping 30%. I was in $1 million short position on Theta that I closed early because I didn't want to keep it on at night. And then you also see coins like XRP as well, where XRP does 5 waves, but most of these coins are truncated because the first wave and the third wave is just too much right now, right? So then you also see coins like HBAR. It forms 5 waves as well. Everything is basically forming 5 full waves that you can see. So then the way that Bitcoin is trending right now is very simple. It's making, like, since November the 12th, so for now 27 days, actually longer than that. So for basically 28 days, you can see that Bitcoin has been making a series of higher lows. It starts from there. It's a higher low there, right? This one doesn't really count because it's a big wick test to the downside. So now if you look at it very closely, actually, you know what it kind of just looks like? It just looks like it's getting into like an ascending kind of triangle, right? That's literally what it looks like right now. It looks like it's trying to break out for the year. So we just had another major dip to the downside. I called 96K like very clearly because of this trend line over here in my previous video today. But we dipped down to about 94K instead. So right now, because of this gigantic wick and it broke down and then it ends up rallying to the upside right here, right? I ended up adding $1.1 million to my position. And what did I add? I'll tell you guys. I ended up adding about 100. I have a map. I can share it on Twitter actually what I ended up adding. But I'll tell you guys right here in just 1 second. I ended up adding, I'm just opening my Excel. Where the fuck is it? Here we go. It's not updated. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I ended up adding Near, Dot, Solana, Manta, Polygon, Beam, Superverse, IMX, Injective, Arkham, Render, Tia, Caspa, Ondo, XLM, and Cardano, and also Ethereum. Ethereum was the biggest add, which was about $150,000. Just because if you think about the reasoning to add right now, it's because of exactly what I said. The 5 waves are now in fully, and most of the coins have actually ended up dipping about 0.5 Fibonacci levels already. Some of them are also hitting very prominent places over here. So for example, on Polkadot, right, it ended up moving up 10% already. So because of that, I ended up longing a very good amount on the wave 4. Some of them held on wave 4, whereas some of them didn't hold on wave 4. Like for example, on XLM, where we just completely broke down. But it's mainly because that was not close to enough of a Fibonacci level. But if you take a look at, for example, XLM, it still hits 0.5 Fibonacci level, right? If you look at Theta, it hits roughly the same levels as well, right? 0.5 Fibonacci. If you take a look at Cardano, right, it doesn't hit 0.5. This one actually stays more bullish than others. This one hits barely below 0.382. So some of these coins are staying at very reasonable fib levels, but the lowest that we've gone so far is about 0.5. So if you think of DOT, for example, it's actually a long time running support, which is one of my biggest holdings right now for my altcoins. So this resistance right here ended up holding for about 800 days. So we finally broke above it. So naturally, that 2.5-year support, or resistance rather, if it was broken, it's going to act as relatively as a good support. So it makes sense right now when there's a lot of fear in the market for me to add to my positions, especially if there's a 0.382 to about a 0.5 fib drop already. So if you look at a lot of coins, I mean, what's the worst that it can get, right? So if the worst that it can get, if we assume the bias that the bullish season is still going to be here, I mean, the worst it's going to get is like maybe another 20% drop. I'm okay to let my portfolio from the $1 million position that I swung or that I added to drop $200,000. Like, I'm really more than okay with that. But because Bitcoin has made such a beautiful wick right now, it just seems like it's the best time to be DCAing, in my opinion. Of course, your risk tolerance is going to be, it's going to be different than like my risk tolerance, right? So because of that, you have to DCA according to like how much you want to get in, right? So, oops, sorry, I keep going on the wrong camera angle. My bad, guys. I'm not used to just this one. So I would definitely define and break up how much of your portfolio you have left to buy, like how much cash you have left on buy, and start breaking it up into buy segments. And one of these times is definitely one of the periods where you would want to consider getting in, because 0.5 fib, and the market cap ended up dropping substantially already. So if we take a look at the market cap over here, we can see that it's dropped 10% today already. And we can see that it's at the $1.63 trillion range, right? We can see that right up here. Am I lagging, guys? I don't think I'm lagging. No, I think it's fine. Yeah, I'm good. Anyways, so we see that the total 3 market cap ends up hitting the September high already. And we also see these ranges that's acting as a relatively good support at 1.44 trillion. So whenever you see the altcoin markets get wrecked, like, in a 4 days, 20%, like, to me, that's really time to buy. Because if you see some coins, like just taking a look at, for example, Polkadot, okay? Polkadot ended up dropping 35% already. To me, that's substantial enough of a drop to DCA in. Then you take a look at a coin like Solana that's dropped 24%. That's just trying to break the all-time high, which eventually will probably end up breaking it. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also looking at Ethereum, which has a really good chance to end up breaking this all-time high very soon. And Ethereum ends up holding a very good support level above 35K. And I even tweeted that, guys. Like, I said that Ethereum was going to get to 35K, or sorry, that $3,550, I said. And then Ethereum ended up getting to 3,475, which is reasonable. So because of that, like it's kind of an emergency right now to be very cautious of the market and to understand that this is a pretty good time to be adding positions to your portfolio rather than being extremely scared, because there's no guarantees of the market heavily rebounding from here. But from the perspective of risk and how much it's actually dropped already, to me, it just makes sense to buy. So I don't know how much further Bitcoin could drop, or even if it could drop. But for now, it's maintaining this higher low pattern. And many analysts are also saying that by the year end, we predict more than $105,000. So until proven otherwise, Bitcoin still holds in this type of pattern. And until proven otherwise, like, the 2-day chart MACD is starting to cross over though. Until this pattern ends up breaking, I've got to maintain my conviction that Bitcoin, yeah, it looks pretty bad right now. Yeah, the total market cap got destroyed, but it's still maintaining this type of lower high pattern that we're seeing right now. So as bad as the market looks right now, many coins did bounce like a tremendous amount tonight. So let's see how much lower this can go. Like, we're talking about Solana bouncing 10%, right? We're talking about like Polkadot bouncing 16%. Polygon ended up bouncing about 17%. Manta ended up bouncing about 20%, right? Some of my top picks have bounced a significant amount already. I wish I got it earlier, but I had to run to my computer and turn it on and etc. So I just wanted to update you guys very quickly on a Sunday or whatever date it is. I don't even know. It's Tuesday in Turkey right now at 1 in the morning. So I hope that you guys stay very cautious, but also know that it's not the time to be heavily leveraging, guys. If you're leveraged a huge amount, there's a chance always for you to get completely wiped out of the market, right? So you don't want to take on a tremendous amount of risk after the market has dropped like this, just for the fear of perhaps another drop coming in. And like I said, coins like coins have dropped 0.5 fib, but it doesn't mean that they can't drop to, for example, 0.618 fib, right? So if Bitcoin continues further, like for example on XLM, right? If we end up dropping a little bit more, it could be another 25% drop. So even if you're leveraged like 4x, 5x, right? You're gonna get wiped out of the game. So it's not the time to be taking on some absurd leverages. Maybe like a 1.5x, 2x leverage is gonna be like the max amount that I would recommend that you guys get into. Other than that, I wanted to just update you guys very quickly tonight, and have yourselves a great night. And thank you for watching. Be cautious, be extremely cautious, and make sure you guys are constantly watching my videos, because I'll try my best to give you some of the best updates. All right, guys, have yourselves a great night. I got to get off the computer. It's 1 in the morning already, so have